Today in studio, I have Dr. Paolo joining me because the scientific community celebrated in June last year after they were able to photograph the molecule that transports omega-3 fatty acids across the blood-brain barrier. Their findings were published in the prestigious scientific journal Nature, and Paolo is going to be telling us a little bit about this. But Paolo, let's start off by talking about the blood-brain barrier. What is that?
All right, so the blood vessels that feed the brain, that enter the brain matter as such, have a different composition in terms of their inner wall and in terms of the exterior of the vessel. So on the inside wall, there's a layer of cells, special cells that have got very tight junctions between them. And then on the outside, astrocytes is one type of brain cell which has extensions with feet-like protrusions that sit on the outside of the vessel.
Okay.
So that creates a further barrier. So they've got little feet all over the place.
Right.
So what it does is that it very zealously makes sure that only what it needs to cross in can cross in.
Right, right.
And those cells obviously also have special transporters for the various substances that are going to be crossing from the inside of the vessel, where the blood is being transported, to the outside of the vessel, which is inside the brain tissue as such.
Okay. So in terms of those transporters, how do the transporters work, or what are the transporters for omega-3 fatty acids?
All right, so this is what you mentioned at the beginning, the transporter that they have photographed.
Yes.
It was discovered in 2008 initially. It's known as the MFSD2A transporter,
Right.
for the biology nerds. Still for the biology nerds, it's a fascinating structure. It's made of 530 amino acids,
Okay.
the building blocks of proteins, but it folds in a specific way so that the omega-3 is able to be taken into it across the cell and across the cell wall as such.
Okay.
Into
So
the
it gets
blood-brain
through
barrier.
that blood-brain
Yes,
barrier
yeah.
then.
So it transports EPA and DHA, two of the three main omega-3s. This transporter is also crucial for maintaining and regulating the blood-brain barrier itself.
Okay.
All right. So one of the things that happens, for example, where the blood perfusion, the amount of blood reaching the brain, is reduced, such as in atherosclerosis, when the blood vessels feeding the brain have plaque built on the inside, so they become narrower.
Yes.
Like any other pipe. If the pipe is narrow, there's less fluid going through. If that happens, then the amount of transporters reduces. All right, which means the blood-brain barrier is not as effective as it should be, because they play a role in regulating this barrier.
Okay.
The very presence of DHA also plays a role in the presence of the transporters. Keep in mind that you can have the omega acids waiting to be transported, but you need transporters.
Yes, absolutely. You
So
need cars to get there.
So you can get that kind of vicious cycle. It reminds us of a number of things. So first of all, we didn't discover the transporter. It was always there.
Okay.
All right. It's been there since people have been eating fatty fish.
Right.
I can put it that way.
Okay.
Okay. It just we've visualized
aware
it,
of it.
Yeah, for the first time. The other one, obviously, it shows us how essential omega-3 fatty acids are for the brain functioning. There is a special transporter to make sure that they come in, and
Yes,
they come
absolutely.
in the right amounts, so to speak. Also, it reminds us that these omega-3 fatty acids are essential. The body cannot produce them.
Yes.
They must come from diet or from supplementation. And then finally, it demonstrates intelligent design.
But now, Doc, we talk about brain plasticity. So what is the role of omega-3s in brain plasticity itself? And also maybe if you could just highlight what brain plasticity is.
In a nutshell, brain plasticity is the ability of the brain to rewire itself.
Right.
If we can put it that way. That's probably a very simple way of understanding it. EPA and DHA are both involved in promoting the change of neural stem cells, so the cells that haven't been differentiated into specific types of brain cells yet. They are still stem cells. They promote the differentiation of these cells into neurons. Once they do that, they promote the production of synapses, the points of contact between neurons. So that's known as synaptogenesis, so they play a role there. These synapses produce a number of chemicals. One of them is synapsin, which regulates the amount of neurotransmitters. Again, EPA and DHA are involved in the production of synapsin.
Right.
They're also involved in the production of glutamate receptors, and that is important for learning and memory.
Okay.
Now, something very interesting, DHA is, as its structure is crucial for the quantum transfer of electrons. The retina in the eye, so the eye is part of the human brain. It's an extension of the human brain. At the back of the eyeball, the back 2/3 are covered by a membrane called the retina. So when light enters the eye, it hits the retina. When it hits the retina, it excites the cells on the membrane, and they change electrical charge. So the electrons, which have an electrical charge, they move around.
Yes.
This is called the quantum transfer. So this is dependent on DHA,
Okay.
as is within the brain the neural signaling that is crucial for higher intelligence.
All right.
So this is an amazing function of DHA.
We hear so often that you should be supplementing with omega-3s because we're just not getting enough in our diets. Why is that we just don't seem to be achieving the levels that we need?
There are three main omega-3s, EPA, DHA, and then ALA. ALA is obtainable from nuts and seeds, flaxseed oil, leafy vegetables.
Right.
And your body can change ALA into the other two, EPA and DHA. That change is not efficient. It's not a very efficient method, and ALA is mostly used for energy. The EPA and DHA omega acids are only available from fatty, oily fish,
Right.
or from omega-3 enriched eggs.
Okay.
You will see it if you buy eggs.
Yes,
They-
yes.
some of them are omega-3 enriched. That's the only sources you can get them from. So there is the difficulty depending on one's diet.
Yes, and people are not eating nearly enough fish as what they should really be doing.
Correct, yes.
Now, Dr. Paulo, in terms of omega-3s, we are, as I mentioned earlier, we're all encouraged to take supplementation. But what is it that differentiates different products where one might be a great product and one might be very average and one may be sort of subpar? How do we know?
Well, there are a number of things to look at. So supplementation must obviously be personalized, but one must look for the type of fish, the source of fish, but specifically for the type of omega-3 fatty acids in the oil. And what I mean by that is the form in which they are in.
Okay.
Okay, so there are two essential forms. They are known as ethyl ester and triglyceride forms.
Right.
Now, ethyl ester form is obtained when you take fish oil, you mix it with ethanol, which is a form of alcohol.
Yeah.
You kind of mix it all up. So in the fish, the oil is, the omega-3 fatty acids rather, are in triglyceride form.
Okay.
When you make this mix, you break the triglycerides apart.
Right.
Now, it has ethanol. When you take it, the absorption is dependent on the fat content of your meal.
Okay.
It has to go through the liver for the liver to remove the ethanol, and that's why there are side effects such as burping and sometimes
okay.
stomach upset and so on. But then the body has then to rebuild the triglyceride form. The triglyceride form, on the other hand, is the form in which we eat it in fish. So if you eat fish, it comes in triglyceride form. So you need to make sure that the product ideally should be in triglyceride form.
Okay.
Then because it's an oil, it can go rancid.
Yes.
So oxidative stress, it can be oxidized. If it is oxidized, it's like rusting.
Yes.
So it is of no effect anymore, partially of no effect. There's something called the TOTOX score. And products should have that TOTOX score on. Now, the industry says that the TOTOX score should be below 27.
Okay.
All right. If it is higher than 27, it is considered rancid.
Right. Right.
And,
then useless by default.
Useless in a manner of speaking. So those are the two things. The form, which should be triglyceride, and the TOTOX score should be below 27.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for sharing some great insights there, some very interesting information.
Thank you.
Paulo.